Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, colleagues.
Morning.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Mighty. My topic is theories that explains the contemporary gender. You write that down. Theories that explains the contemporary gender. Okay, cool. The theory is coherent group of tested general propositions commonly regarded as correct or that can be used as principles for explanation or prediction of phenomena. It helps you to explain things. It helps you to sort of look at things or predict the things. And gender is the state of being man or female, as our society regards gender to be. Though most of the time, when you look at gender, or which is the patriarchy and society, people would look at feminism. So feminist theory is one of the major contemporary in sociological theories, which analyzes analysis of women and men in the society. And that's why I say that most of the time when we talk about gender, it quickly goes to the feminism. So its theory, it analyzes the status of women and men in society with the purpose to better the women's life. As the equality, as the United Nations wishes to state the human rights, the gender equality, and other foreign policies that also talks about that. Then I looked at the liberal feminism, which is the change. This is happening these days, whereby there's in our present society, liberal, what is being preached by international organizations such as the United Nations, that we need to look at the women's perspective, and that's why in many countries, would all the time we try to include, women. Like if women have an organization, they will include in order to hear the perspective of women. Because some of you might be wondering this topic that I have of theory of contemporary gender, and how does it fit in this program, in this course of international relations, and the theories that are applicable, that are applied in it. Is because especially what I'm going to go back, as I said that, when you talk about liberal, and that international organizations such as United Nations talks about equality, and how we can include the women in order to hear their perspective, and how they can better their lives as well. And World Bank says that United Nations, in terms of international policy. Then there is also, you have different, I'm going to reflect. I'm going to keep reflecting on that so that you don't find my presentation peculiar. That each time, as I said, that each time we talk about gender, it's always about the issues, women issues, woman and girl issues. And then we have other actors, such as, I think, Alice Walker, the black woman from America, that also, she was a black feminist. So I used this thing of black feminism, theory, where she was, fighting and to argue that black women, the freedom of black women, and that also, as I said, black women, a group of them, and these other black feminists, such as Alice Walker, getting to the issues of woman and girl, but at the same time, fighting, getting the identity of the whole gender issues. Then I used the other one is new institutional theory, especially while I'm using this theory, very importantly, I looked at the whole thing of international relations and the theory as well, because in the policy making, I said earlier on, look, I'm reflecting that again, and implementation. Equality is very important, in all sectors, in all areas, such as education, such in employment, in the working places, and as I said, institutional is institution, just as it is in as a government, as a national state. And that's what I'm talking about. That, and earlier on, I talked about the international system of how I'm connecting the theories with international relations and in terms of the international system. And this time around, I'm saying that new institutional theory helps us to understand, especially in terms of bureaucracy, in terms of the government, engaging women and girls, in terms of their education and unemployment. And there are scholars as feminists of institutions. There are many other people, organizations, that of women that have tried as much as they can to fight the nuclear wars. I think there was a time that America wanted to engage into nuclear war. It should have been maybe 1980s, somewhere there, between 1980s and 1990s. So almost 500,000 women marched in order to stop, Americans to take, to attack any country with a nuclear or perish. That was the case. So, and there are groups of women from different countries. They form their own organizations from Europe, Australia, and North America to explore the interplay between feminist approaches. And that is why I said the theories and how I connected that to international relations so that it doesn't raise peculiarity in us. That's why I'm connecting the theories and international relations and on these gender issues. So it's because you see these people with the public opinion, with their opinions, and they try to engage women and power. And on the same issue of new institutional theory, I'm going to talk about the bureaucratic relationship and change of institutional institutions such as the state. Because all the time you do have, different governments, different leadership in governments, and each one that comes has got his own things, especially in the policy formulations and how they engage with women. So that was not very clear enough, I know. International roles of women. How do we now put this gender issue and the theories that I've talked about, and what roles have women played? And when I talk about roles, it's because we're talking about the gender issue once again. The roles of women that have played, especially on the international, agenda that I've taken, is because we have women that have participated, especially on the peacekeeping. When you go to other countries, you find that the soldiers goes to other countries and there they meet women, and the women have played a role. You might wonder why, these women are so important when we put them, or when the soldiers, take women. Sometimes it happens by force in other countries whereby women are, taken or snatched and taken to the camps, and that role that I've played. And also a very important international role that women have played. It shows in recent events that took place when President Robert Mugabe was supposed to have participated or taken a part in EU summit. And they had their own protocol where they said, you don't bring your woman. So Robert Mugabe made a decision not to go because of around that issue, but could be other issues as well. And President Zuma did the same thing, but he sent his representative there, and he did not go as well because he could have gone with the women. So you can see how I just picked up something that I think the forms of gender, and especially sexism or feminism, changes. You see, for Europeans it's okay; they can go there by themselves. But for the leaders in Africa, it's you can see that they had to go with their one woman, but when they were stopped from doing that, they did not participate. And another gender issue that I can talk about, especially on the international issues, is women are starting. That's why it's called the theory of contemporary gender, because women now are participating in many positions. I'll give you an example. There's a Joyce Banda that now is the president. So it means that these issues of gender will take a different turn. We've got a Starlet, from Liberia, I believe, And also, Joyce Banda has been also talking about the woman and the girl when she was, or I think she still is, the chairman of SEDEC. So you can see how important this issue of theories of contemporary gender, how important it is. I said ambassadors' wives as well. I touched on that. And escorting heads of the state, I talked about that. Then I looked at something very interesting, which is the psychoanalysis theory. Though psychoanalysis is a bit of broad, because the psychoanalysis, it talks about the psychology part of it, the personality that we inherit, the experience, the way we do things in terms towards women and girls, unconsciously, the way, yeah. Then there's another issue. This is very interesting. It was interesting. Gender fetish theory. I'll call it a theory, okay? Why I'm calling it fetish is because earlier on, I was talking about that each time we talk about women, we talk about gender, we always talking about women all the time. And this is very interesting, because why I touched this kind of theory that probably we're not aware of, because you might ask yourself what kind of theory is this. I say the gender fetish theory is the attraction between masculinity and feminism, and on the issue of gender heterosexual and gender homosexuality. I don't know if this is appropriate. I'm going to talk about it, okay? That's why it could be a very interesting issue. In Africa, most of the time when you talk about gender, what comes to mind to probably the majority of people is Africa, is penetration that comes first. Okay, let me not talk about this again. Because it is supported by other writers. It's supported by other writers. Because since we talk about the theory and trying to understand our footing, Mark Blechner talked about the forms of gender, how it differs from country to country. And he tried to go deeper to talk about how we regard gender. And in certain issues, maybe we cannot talk about them. Okay. Then another one is by Julia Kristeva. I don't know how to pronounce that. Please forgive me. Her theory was called objection theory, which means the unhappiness, the unhappiness of matriarchy society towards, patriarchy society. So Julia Kristeva touches on politics, which is the society. The culture of women are being excluded, by patriarchy society. Still, we expect women to have an identity, especially in our society, so that the society, the patriarchy and maternal come into being. And when I say comes into being, what I mean is, I'm trying to censor it, because it's a bit sensitive. When I said identity, women in many rural areas, you find that a woman is expected to play a role, and other roles are those ones of being patriarchy and matriarchy society, people being together and being in sort of, okay, fine. The other theory is called a sexuation theory. And sexuation theory, most of us, we don't know, we're not aware of. And I came, when I was, doing my research on this. It's by Jacques Lancani. It says that the women are not complementary, which we always assume, especially in Africa, that they are opposite sex. We are opposite sex person. He says that they are supplementary, which is additional. So that now starts raising a question, of women and why we should use different theories in order to find out, or in order to explain and to be able to predict, the issues of gender and gender in terms of the woman and the girl. And you can see how this theory of sexuation theory by Jacques Lacan, which is to state. Then the other one is, like by Cynthia Enlow, is feminist consciousness theory. She says that issues of women and girls, such as women in leadership, it's very important because what she means is feminist consciousness is to try to be inclusive when it comes to women in education, considering of the roles that they have played, which I mentioned earlier on, and in international politics. She says that it's very important that we start looking at these issues of gender and including them in international politics, in all forms of engagement. Then the other one, I think I'm about to finish. Okay, good. The other one is called separatist feminism. This is a form of feminism that does not support heterosexual relationships. A belief that sexual disparities between men and women issues are unresolvable. These issues, as you can see, that if we take them from different angle, trying to explain and try to see to look at things, that for over the years, there have been many women in the literary society, literature society, drama society, movie society, whatever, where women were not included in the leadership, in the management, and things like that. It still happens now, that women are separated from the roles that men are playing. And women feels that certain women that even went to the extent that they wished not to get married at all because how the issues of gender has touched them, and they feel that men cannot make positive contributions to the feminist movement, according to their observations. So my recommendations, ladies and gentlemen, is more scholars to bring more gender issue concerns in international relations or international politics, and to bring more theories that will be able to explain and solve and to begin questioning the differences between feminism in terms of because I'm thinking that it happens also in these gender issues, especially on the women. It happens in the race, it happens in the class, it happens in the ethnicity, it happens in the nationality, it happens in the age, and intersection of the gender. Because you can find that women can be discriminated, maybe through some other race being racist to the person, or in the differences of the age, towards women. It can be nationality, say that this woman is from Zimbabwe now, look what's happening, whatever. So we need to start looking. That's one of my recommendations, that we need to look at all forms of gender, especially differences between feminism. Now, this is why it is important to integrate the international relations and politics into these gender issues, gender theory, especially contemporary gender theories. Working class are exploited, and the capitalist mode of production across the world are exploiting women. Now, I'll give you an example on that recommendation. In countries like Lesotho, there are many women that are working in factories that making Levi jeans, that cross the border and go to America. And those women are getting very little money. Last time, I checked, sorry for taking it to that personal agenda, some women were getting 400 and something emaluti. The other ones were getting 600, others were getting 800 emaluti. To make many, amount of jeans per day. That month 400, 600 per month, 800 per month. So what I'm trying to say is, I'm thinking that there's exploitation. Look at other forms of gender, there's exploitation. So we need to look, the other scholars need to look at that. So those are one of my recommendations, ladies and gentlemen, that how I integrated that gender contemporary into international relations, so that we make recommendations and so that these issues are explained and to be able to predict
Let me start with your